Welcome to the AFC North Roundtable, a weekly live show featuring top-tier insight and analysis on all things AFC North from the best creators in the division, including Baltimore Ravens creator Sam, Pittsburgh Steelers creator Mark, Cleveland Browns creator Chef Zay, and Cincinnati Bengals creator Zim. Catch the AFC North Roundtable every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on the AFC North Roundtable YouTube channel. What is up, AFC North football fans, and welcome into another edition of the AFC North Roundtable. Week 7 of the NFL season is in the books, and it was an exciting Week 7 at that. We had the Ravens on the bye. They'll get back to it this upcoming week, but we had a massive showdown. The Icy Hot Bowl nearly a week ago. We'll dive into that one this evening, and we'll also talk about the Browns squishing the fish, dominating Tua, Mike McDaniel and company on Sunday afternoon. And then, of course, on the back half of the episode, we'll take a peek at Week 8, giving you our preview and predictions coming your way later on this upcoming week. But without further ado, let's talk about this past weekend. Let's bring in the fellas, Zay, Sam, and Zim, who's just now joining us. Zim, so great to have you. I'm going to tell Zim from now on the show starts at 5:30. That way, we'll be live, hopefully, by 6:15. But Zim, it's not 9. Who Day is in the building. You might be noticing, however, there is a blank box on the right side of your screen. And we have been informed. We have been informed by our good pal Mark that the Wi-Fi, wherever he is, he's in another country. He has been globetrotting the last month. But wherever he is, I think he's in Austria. The Wi-Fi in Austria is not up to snuff. And unfortunately is unable to join us. I know Zim, he wasn't buying that entirely. We'll let him talk about that in just a second, because I know he was waiting patiently to come on here and have a very civil discussion with Mark about what we witnessed in that Icy Hot Bowl nearly a week ago. Let's start where Week 7 started. Let's start on last Thursday night's epic showdown between two 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks in Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco. This game did not disappoint. One of the best games of the season. Joe Flacco comes out and slings the pill for 342 and 3 touchdowns as the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 33-31. And all of a sudden, the Steelers, they drop one. Could have been 5-1 right at the top of the conference. The Bengals, on the other end of things, they're right in the mix. 3-4. All of a sudden, Joe Flacco's throwing the ball around. Jamar Chase looks like the greatest wide receiver you've ever seen. What we witnessed on Thursday night was electric. It was entertaining beyond belief. Joe Flacco dominates, but Aaron Rodgers, he had a day himself. He had 249 for 4 touchdowns. The 2 picks, of course, didn't help. But this was an offensive fireworks show that wound up leading to a Cincinnati Bengals W. Zay, I got to start here with you because we had this conversation. The second Joe Flacco was let go by the Browns and basically hand-delivered to the Bengals, the conversation had was, is this going to be something the Browns regret? And I think we watched Thursday night, and even if Joe Flacco doesn't do anything else moving forward here for Cincinnati, if not for anything else, that gift from your Browns to the Bengals pretty much propelled these Bengals to a W on Thursday night. I think it's safe to say if Browning was in that game, we wouldn't have gotten the same performance. So what did you make of Joe Flacco going out there and lighting up the stage under the bright lights of Thursday Night Football?
I didn't try to pay too much attention to it. I'm going to be honest with you. I woke up to enough that Friday morning. It was a very rough Friday morning before. You got to remember, this was before the Browns have even won. So we woke up to the thank you, Cleveland, and that whole shebang. So I definitely try to put that far back in the memory bank. But when you got a guy like Joe Flacco, he understands the assignment, right? You look at the only thing you got to look at is the box score. You see 23 targets to the best player on the field. That's the recipe for success. That's how you're going to keep this team afloat. And Joe Flacco understood the assignment. So hats off to those guys. You also got to give credit to the script. It seems like when there's certain things that fall into place, like, you know, the crazy stats of the world where Lamar Jackson's like 25-2 against the NFC. Mike Tomlin wasn't going to win on Thursday night, right? We're going to keep that 5-6 streak going. So it fit the script.
0-7.
0-7, something like that. So it had to fit the script, but it will be interesting if they can find a way to pull out another win I can only imagine Joe Burrow is itching to get back. So I'm excited to see Zim's analysis on this one because I guess the Bengals aren't quite dead just yet.
As you were saying, Jamar Chase, the virtual streets were saying, Zay, that he put up a Jalen Hurts type stat line, 16 out of 23 for a $161 and a touchdown. And that, of course, came from the arm of Joe Flacco. Sam, you're watching this one Thursday night. What did you make of what you saw in this one? And in particular, what did you make of Cincinnati's ability to pull it out?
I mean, I called it last week. I told you guys, my boy Joe Flacco is going to come through. Keep that boy upright, and he's going to be a problem every single time. The Bengals offensive line is probably the story that's been unsung the last 2 or 3 weeks. They have been keeping their quarterbacks upright. That's the most dangerous part about this Bengals team. If they can keep their quarterback upright, doesn't matter if it's Joe Flacco, Joe Schmo. Obviously, Jake Browning couldn't do it, but of course, Joe Burrow comes back. This team is going to be dangerous on offense, the likes of which we've probably never seen since they went on that Super Bowl run, because they really haven't had an offensive line to really catapult the play of their quarterback and others around them to success. So that's very good to see. The defense obviously is the defense. It is what it is. But moving over to the Steelers side, I mean, do you not know who number one is? They've made absolutely no efforts to try and contain that guy. At one point, he was open on a drag route to the right. Of course, Joe Flacco is going to hit this guy multiple times. 23 targets is amazing. It just shows what type of caliber that, Jamar Chase is, and also shows that Steelers defense has regressed. We talk about the Ravens defense regressing. At least we see signs of life from the Ravens. But the Steelers, it seems like with TJ Watt and company, they're just not getting it together. So yeah, Mike Tomlin loses on Thursday Night Football. No big deal. It happens all the time. But the story of the day is an offensive line for the Bengals and this Bengals team not being quite out of it in the AFC North yet.
Zim, we said that the Bengals had to steal a couple before Joe Burrow comes back for them to have a chance to make a run late. This was certainly one that they stole, right? The Steelers go in, only one loss on their record. The Bengals get out of this one with the W, and the offensive performance was off the charts. Like we mentioned, Joe Flacco, 342 for 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, 16 receptions, a franchise record, 161 yards. 1 touchdown. It's crazy when T. Higgins' 6-catch, 96-yard, 1 touchdown performance goes completely unnoticed. Also, the Bengals, they found the run game in this one. Haven't been able to establish the run all year. They do so with Chase Brown in this game. He had 9.8 yards per carry, 108 yards on just 11 attempts. Zim, the floor is yours. What a W for Cincinnati.
What a W. It was a good win. When we were talking about them stealing a win, this wasn't one of the ones that I thought had to be stolen. I talked about this coming into the game. If y'all go back and watch this show from last week, Mark told, and I'm gonna do my best because I'm old school with my fandom. If somebody's not there to defend themselves, I'm gonna try to get away from talking about Mark specifically, but I'm just referencing him on the show last week. You have this arrogance with this team that hasn't won a playoff game in almost a decade. We are in 2025. He was talking on a show, and I think he mirrors what I gathered from the Steelers fans over the week. It's like this, no matter how many times Jamar Chase has killed you, he killed you his rookie season. How many times T. Higgins killed you without Jamar Chase? I asked Mark on the show. He talked about, like, in a perfect scenario, how it would go. We're going to throw over the offensive line and all these different things. And I told everybody the reason why Jake Browning got canned is because the offensive line actually was blocking really good. And when he didn't perform, when he was it made all the Bengals fans be like, hold up. If we get a quarterback that could throw with an offensive line like that, I think we're in good shape. I don't know what I expected from Joe Flacco, but I think going back to the beginning of the season too, think about when we would talk to Sam on here, and Sam was telling us on the show, well, this offense is scary. It's the one team, but it's predicated on the weapons. And what do my opposition tell me all the time? Is Joe Burrow wouldn't be nothing without the weapons. And I kept on coming on the show and saying the weapons are still healthy. Like, all of them are still there. And it's crazy because when I look back at how this all maturated, I begged y'all all summer. I begged everybody. I said, let's go back to what I became a football fan from. Let's stop talking all that contract stuff. Now that it's time to play football, let's not talk that injury stuff. Let's talk about how are you going to stop the best wide receivers in football. And Sam, you did reference the 2021 run. I don't give a shit about that run. The Bengals in 2022 is what Bengals fans relish in. 2021 is something that opposition don't like because the Bengals went to a Super Bowl. But if you talk to a real Bengals fan, they were efficient in 2022 and they were dominant on a 10-game win streak. The confidence that Bengals fans has isn't some false confidence. We were just in an AFC championship game in 2023. I'm not telling y'all about some stuff that happened 10 years ago. And all the things that happened in 2023 when, yes, we did beat, sorry, Z-Bot, we beat the Super Bowl favorite Buffalo Bills in that game. I keep on coming on this show and trying to tell people you cannot function in this league without two wide receivers. The one person, the one team. If a Chiefs fan is in here right now, ask them to pull up the box score. If you're a Ravens fan, pull up the box scores on what those Bengals and those Chiefs games look like. It's always Joe Burrow outperforming Pat Mahomes. No matter, I get it, Pat Mahomes has won 2 of them, but Joe Burrow has a winning record versus him. I'm not telling you about the past. I'm not telling you about the 70s. I'm telling you about right now. You watch this Pittsburgh Steelers team trade away a number 1 wide receiver in George Pickens. He is now somewhere else cooking up. And guess what they got? 2 number 1 wide receivers. The formula that the Steelers have, I told y'all, if you're going to go with that system with Arthur, whatever bro's name is, with tight ends, when you run into a team, mind you, Trey Hendrickson did not play. When you run into a team that has a real pass rush, they're going to come up and they're going to give you a real pass rush, and Aaron Rodgers isn't even going to get off whatever he got off, right? When Trey Hendrickson plays the next time, he's not going to throw what he just threw. When you have a real pass rush and you're throwing to tight ends underneath, you don't have this yak ability of a Jamar Chase, the yak ability of a T. Higgins. And that goes and it's going to show up. And remember, I told y'all this, it's going to show up maybe before the playoffs if they make the playoffs, but it's going to show up. And I keep on telling people that. And the one thing in this league is the teams that have these 2 wide receivers are looking very, very dangerous right now. And I said that if y'all go watch the show last week with the exchange that me and Mark had, he was like, oh, Ramsey's back to form. And then I cooked Ramsey 2021 in his prime. I cooked him in his prime. So don't even I'm dead ass disrespected when people talk about Jamar Chase as though he's a normal wide receiver. You can tell me that the Bengals ain't shit. We ain't never won no Super Bowl, and I'll be like, yep, you know what? You're right. But don't talk to me about Jamar Chase like you have an answer for him. If your answer is, oh, you hope he gets injured or something like that, that's not a real answer, and you're not a real ball knower. I'm a ball knower. I talk ball. That contract shit is over. Now we're playing, right? So this is and then they get on the internet, they're gonna be like, oh, he's the bad guy. I don't like this guy. You know the people that say that is all the people that talk all that shit, and then I come back with a receipt for their ass that they can't cash. And that's why they don't like me. It's not because I'm a Bengals fan. I didn't lie. I didn't come on the show and tell y'all I was something that I'm not. I still think the Bengals are a fringe playoff team at best. But one thing you're not going to tell me is you could check Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. None of you can. None of you.
The one thing
Denzel
in this game.
Denzel Ward can.
Oh,
how did that end up for you week 1? How did that end up for you with Jamar Chase when no T. Higgins gave you 100 and 120 yards? He gave you a bunch of receptions. You remember that when he caught the touchdown in the end zone of Denzel Ward?
Are we talking about week 1 where he had 40 yards?
We could go 2022. We could go 23. I got you.
Talking about when he went 2 of 26 this week 1? That's the week 1 you talking about? My bad.
Sir,
we talking about Jamar Chase. We're not talking about the win. We talking about Jamar Chase. You said nobody can stop Jamar Chase. Denzel Ward can do that.
You didn't.
2 of 26.
Pull him up.
Next.
Pull him up.
Pull
him up.
2 receptions, 26 yards. Week 1.
Zach,
week 1.
Zach,
the week you just said. Week 1.
Cool. Part of the strategy is you have to stop both of them.
You
have to stop both of them.
I'm not arguing.
You see what I'm saying?
You said no one can stop your boy Jamar. I said Denzel Ward can. That's what
Jamar
I'm
and T. Jamar T. You're not stopping me. If you telling me about how you got a
33 too.
If you telling me about how you got a belt on your ass, that is not stopping him. That's a belt.
I forgot that was about the ass.
That's a belt.
Off of Mr.
Yeah. Right.
Can we talk about the bottom feeder?
You could cry about hey, you could get it if you want to. You lost 6 out of 7 to the Bengals. Don't talk to me about.
All I'm saying
I got the belt.
I'm rebuttal. You said nobody can stop your boy Jamar Chase.
Can't.
I'm telling you, he went 2 of 26 when he went up against Denzel Ward.
Yeah, and what happened to time before?
Now you trying to go other directions, like stick
right.
where you was at.
I see what's going on. I see what's going on. Joe Flacco is now over here showing you how it's done, and you want a little piece of that, right? No, you can't get that, bro. You don't have Jamar Chase. You told me that Judy was him. Judy is wide receiver 4 on my team. Don't talk to me like that.
You just said no one can stop. Why are you getting so far off the subject of what you just said and what I'm rebuttaling to?
The subject is you have Jamar Chase. The subject is and T. Higgins together.
No.
Wide receivers. Two wide receivers.
Chat, clip it. Rewind it.
Sir, clip this. Hold on. Clip this. Hold on. Bro, what are we talking about? Clip this. Jamar Chase is the youngest Triple Crown winner in the history of football. Cool. Clip that. What are you talking about? Like you sound delusional. No one did it.
You're going for. You said no one can stop your boy. I gave you one rebuttal, and now we talking about T. Higgins and Triple Crown.
Yeah, because he gonna give you one too.
Because week 1 he went 2 of 26, but that's not stopping him. We got the best ass. So next,
what was T? What was Gesicki? What was it? Run it all off then. It's part of the strategy. Part of the strategy is if you stop one, you can't stop the other. If you want to allocate your safety help over there, then you could get cooked on the other side. I don't care who you are. If I got a competent quarterback throwing them football, so these guys right there is going to get work. And if you don't get Jamar Chase work, you're going to get T. Higgins work. You don't get Gesicki work, you're going to get Fant work. You're going to get Chase Brown work. It's going to be whatever work you want, but it's an L, and you got 6 out of 7. You can't talk to me. Get out of here. Jerry Judy Merchant, you're wide receiver 4 on me. Don't talk to me about wide receiver. You never seen a Jamar Chase. The last wide receiver that you had was the last wide receiver that you ever had that was even in a conversation couldn't stay off the weed. That's the best wide receiver you ever had. Bro, you don't know wide receivers. Get out of here.
Amari Cooper cooked y'all multiple years while he was with us.
How about Joe Flacco gonna cook you?
When we talking about what you just said, I'm so confused why you so mad that you said no one can stop your boy, and I said, well, Denzel Ward can. Now all of a sudden it's this, and that. Like,
right.
Z-Bot, let's get to the bottom feeders, man.
Yeah, hey, you jumped into it. You can get the work. I didn't make you say that.
You just mad that I came with seconds and I wanted to put a foil over mine so I could take it into the next week. So that's all it is. I'm gonna eat leftovers next week.
The only foil you have is
or the last week of the year when we see y'all again.
Right. The only foil you have is a tin cap that you wear on your head every day as a Browns fan. Get out of my face. I'm talking ball with some division rivals in here. You're at the bottom. Come holler at me.
You're mad that I rebutted the thing that you're getting off topic on. That's all that matters.
Right. And it's still Jamar Chase in the Triple Crown. You sound idiotic. Let's go on to the next subject.
Let's move on to the next subject because we're talking about guys who aren't capable of being stopped. I'll talk about a unit that wasn't able to be stopped on Sunday, and that was the Cleveland Browns defense. And I can guarantee you, Tua and the gang were hoping they could find a way to stop them. They couldn't. They got dominated. The Cleveland Browns dominated the Miami Dolphins in a way we haven't seen the Browns dominate a team in quite some time. This was, as we like to say on this show, a BTA. 31-6. The Browns take it over the Miami Dolphins. They hold Tua to 12 of 23 for 100 yards and 3 interceptions. Judkins, what a day. 84 yards to go along with 3 touchdowns. Dylan Gabriel didn't have to do much, but he was efficient, didn't turn the ball over. 13 of 18 for $116. This Cleveland Browns defense absolutely decimated Miami in pursuit of a 31-6 victory. Sam, what'd you make of the Browns just destroying Miami on Sunday?
If this was 2000, I'd say that the Browns have a good chance of winning the championship, but unfortunately, it's 2025 and you need a passing game, and the Browns don't have much of any. Also, the Dolphins are terrible. I mean, just top to bottom, Tua might be the worst quarterback in the league. Tua might be the worst quarterback in the league, and you can't be that against this Browns defense. We talked about it, all year long. This Browns defense is just too good. But, I feel bad for Browns fans because they're also a quarterback away. It seems like Stefanski is in love with Dylan Gabriel. I think I saw a clip of him just smiling when he saw Dylan Gabriel on the sidelines. He's not going to be the answer for this team moving forward. I still think you got to give Shador a shot. My thoughts, but I don't know whether that's going to happen. But it's all about the Dolphins being just a terrible football team and the Browns taking full advantage.
They took full advantage, all right. They really made Miami look about as bad as any team in the league has all this entire season, really. It was unbelievable what they forced two into, just 12 completions. And out of 23 attempts, 3 of them got picked off. Zim, what did you make of what the Browns were able to do to Miami on Sunday?
I picked the Browns to win this game. Just following up what Sam just said, Dolphins, I don't know Tua is the worst, but the Dolphins might be the worst team in the league. So, I mean, you can take that with a grain of salt. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a profound thought on it, but good win for the Browns.
I think the argument here is whether or not the Jets or the Dolphins are the worst team in football. So either way, I think the worst team in football currently resides in the AFC East. You could probably throw the Titans in the mix there too. It seems inevitable that the worst team in football, though, is in the AFC. It does feel like the bottom is far heavier than that of the NFC when it comes to the teams that are circulating towards the end of the list of teams in these two conferences. But Zay, look, this must have been an exciting afternoon for you out in Cleveland, because this one was not only a W for Cleveland, but it was just pure domination. You watched this defense beat up on an offense that had no answer. So what'd you make of Cleveland's second win of the season?
You would think it would be a little bit more exciting, but this was probably one of the weirdest wins I've experienced as a fan over the years because of the situation. We all know going into this game, I was kind of rooting for a Kevin Stefanski fire. And this game reminded me exactly, if you go back 2022, when Deshaun Watson played his first game versus the Texans, and we were so excited to see Deshaun Watson and what he could do. And we saw everything but Deshaun. We saw the defense score. We saw special teams get a punt return. We saw the defense get a stop on their end zone and fumble recovery touchdown in there. We saw Denzel Ward get a touchdown. Like, we saw everything but Deshaun. And we saw everything but the offense again this week. We saw Q. We know what Q can do, but we didn't see anything from Dylan Gabriel or Kevin Stefanski putting him in these positions to go out there and make plays. So when you're watching the game, you're sitting here and you're just kind of like, well, this is fun, but like, this isn't what I needed to see. And I went into that game and I had only one of two outcomes that I wanted. One was we lose, fire Kevin Stefanski. And the other one was a blowout. I think a blowout was the only way to make this win acceptable. And when you see how the players reacted on the sideline and how they definitely needed this win more than I think anything, I don't think them getting rid of a coach, like, they needed to get this win under their belt. So it was definitely a weird win to see. My main thing is now is, can they stack this win? If you can find a way to beat the Patriots this week, you go into the bye week on a 2-game win streak, you come out with a gift wrap, which is the New York Jets, who are just as bad as we are. And you're talking about 3 in a row. And this whole season, we got life again. So I'm interested to see what this week looks like. Is Dylan Gabriel finally going to do something to shut us up? Because he hasn't done it yet. But all I can say is thank you, football gods, for 10, because we thought we won. We didn't know what we was going to do after 2-4.
Dylan Gabriel didn't have to do much in this game, Zay, obviously, but is there going to come a point where we do see a change, even though it might not be warranted based on him throwing, 3 picks a game or whatever? Do you still think we see a change at some point?
Yeah, you can't go into next season without seeing Shedeur Sanders, because if Shedeur can come in and peel off some wins and show you that you don't need to take a quarterback next year, you're talking about back-to-back drafts where you could potentially put the studs in the ground for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years with the 2 drafts that you had. So I definitely think Shedeur's time is only a matter of time. I think you can kind of get that too. Usually when players tweet out long tweets like they did yesterday, which kind of took Browns Twitter by storm yesterday, Shedeur put this long tweet out about patience and right timing and all of this stuff. I think you can kind of get that sense that the door is slowly starting to open. And until Dylan does something spectacular, I think even if he do something spectacular, I still think you have to see 12. So I still think that Tennessee matchup week 14 is where I have it circled for Shedeur.
You definitely got to see what you have. Obviously, the Giants did so with Jackson Dart. They're finding out what they have there. I mean, obviously, an unprecedented collapse in the fourth quarter, but Jackson Dart has looked great. That team has looked rejuvenized since he's been out as the starter. So you got to see what you have at some point. I have to imagine at some point in the second half of the season here, we do see what Shadir Sanders has for the Cleveland Browns. The Baltimore Ravens were on a bye, so we'll talk about them in just a second when we get into week 8. Before we do, let me give a shout out to my friends over at RotoWire. We've talked about their fantasy tools in the past. They also have you covered for all of your daily fantasy and betting needs. One of my favorite tools on the site is their picks and props tool. What this does is it narrows down which way you should lean on more or less, depending on the matchup and the player in that matchup. So obviously we use Sleeper a lot on the show here. This can break down which player or which situation you should put into your slip. So for instance, for this upcoming week, the picks and props tool over on RotoWire has a lean on Josh Jacobs going more than his rushing yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have the Jackson Dart line at 203.5, and they're thinking he's going to go lower than that against the Eagles. So many different options to look through and help you decide what's best for you on your slip. And this is in addition to all the other amazing tools that RotoWire has to offer with a premium subscription. And you can get 15% off that premium subscription via the link in the description below. Click that, sign up, then use the promo code RTS. That will get you a 15% off discount on that premium subscription. All right, so we pivot from week 7 to week 8, where all of the teams are in action, including the Baltimore Ravens coming off of a bye. Lamar Jackson is back. The Ravens are back. And apparently Vegas thinks they're back too, because the Ravens are coming out of the bye with Lamar Jackson as a touchdown favorite at home against the 4-2 Chicago Bears. So even though the Ravens are 1-5 currently, they are heavily favored to get this W against Chicago. Just goes to show you the worth of Lamar Jackson. So Zim, I'll start with you. Ravens back off the bye. They need to get this W at 1-5, and they got to start stacking W's. Do they start to stack them up here, taking on the Chicago Bears on Sunday?
I think their season depends on it. They lose this game, to me, it's over. You could think some crazy scenario where they just went out the rest of if you think about it, you can only afford to really lose 2 more games the whole season. And if they were to lose this one, Sam is probably going to get us up to speed on like the Lamar watch and everything. Him going limited, not taking first team reps or whatever. I wouldn't know what that's about. But Vegas definitely knows something in for them to have him as a 6.5 favorite. I think if he doesn't play or whatever, or he's limited or anything like that, I don't think they have a shot. So to me, they're basing it. Vegas knows that he's playing. Because to me, the Bears with Ben Johnson going up against that defense that has not been disciplined all season. You got Swift playing really good football for my fantasy owners out there. You got a tough, secondary with Stevenson out there. I know Jalen Johnson or whatever bro's name is. I think he's still on IR, but there are some really good matchups, and I think the Bears have had a pretty good, solid defense for the most part. I do think offensively, I think they pose a lot of problems what they're going to do schematically for a defense that does not have, to me, one of the better defensive lines in football. The loss of Matabuke is the one that I don't think people are talking about, because to me, I thought that he would, going up against the Ravens, that's the one guy you want to run away from. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think football fans really watch the trenches as much, but when I watch them, that's the guy that stands out to me. It isn't overweight Roquan coming back to practice. I don't think that that's the answer. I think Lamar, coming back is a big boost for them, but at the same time, they were 1-3 with them. So, like, to me, I think defensively they have to shore up a lot, and I get they got the extra bye, but if the Bears, you know what I mean? Like, if they get points, like the Ravens gonna have to bomb back like immediately, or it could be a weird situation that I don't think Ravens fans are used to, because to me, I think right now the Bears are the better team.
With that said, though, who do you think wins it on Sunday?
The Bears.
The Bears. We got Zim remaining as top dog when it comes to hating on the Baltimore Ravens. Zay, Sunday afternoon, Lamar taking on the Bears. Coming off this injury, they're coming off the bye. They got to get this W. Do they get this W on Sunday?
Nothing would be sweeter and better to see Lamar Jackson throw that helmet in the first row after he comes off of a 2-interception game and they get blown out. And can't you just envision it now? He's got that he's got a shiesty on halfway and it's off face and he takes it off in his helmet. Like we've seen it 1,000 times, right? Like it's boiling up. And we gonna see how great Lamar Jackson really is, because guess what? This is some of the most favorable scheduling that I have ever seen for an historic comeback than what I'm looking at right now. Bears, Dolphins, Vikings, Browns, Jets, and then division opponents, which Ravens, love to do. Patriots, Packers, Steelers. If Lamar Jackson's going to go on a run, it starts this week with the Bears. But unfortunately, when you got eternal problems, when you got power struggles, when you want to make a statement, when you want to show people who the top dog is, these are games you lose. So I'm looking. I'm looking for the Bears. I'm looking for the Bears to come out here, put BTA to the Ravens, and I'm really you're gonna see all of the weight on Lamar Jackson's shoulders, and it's just gonna erupt when he knows that, damn, we not coming back. We can't win this, because I think if the Bears get a lead, you can kiss the game goodbye. So the key is gonna
leave.
The key is going to be you gonna need a lead early, and we gonna need one of them vintage Lamar Jackson games where you looking up at the third quarter and Lamar Jackson's got 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like we've seen that stat line before. Sam needs that Lamar Jackson, or your season is gone, and you can sit your ass on the couch. Right where you need to be at the bottom.
I wanted to say that. I'm so sorry. I had to say that. If they get down on the scoreboard, he gonna leave.
Mm-hmm.
Zay, who's leaving with the W though? Who's leaving with the W?
You think I'm not taking the Bears?
Come on.
I might actually be locked in. I might have to find a Bears t-shirt to wear this game, because I can just close my eyes and I can just see, after Ben Johnson light his ass up on offense, Lamar Jackson gonna come out, boom, in and out of the hands of Mark Andrews, pick 6 the other way, and here comes Lamar. Well, we can't make it. We 1-7. It's gonna be great. And then life support Sam gonna be back.
Well, you already got a bunch of that Cleveland Browns orange. All you got to do is find some Navy. You'll be set to go, rooting for the Bears this upcoming week. Sam, Lamar back, ping pong tables, pool tables removed from the locker room. It's all business out in Baltimore. Will it matter? Will it be conducive to a W this week in a must-have game against Chicago?
Well, fellas, unfortunately, guys, this boy is back. And that is a problem for the rest of the AFC. That boy right there, that boy's a problem. We all know that coming into this division, he was going to be the answer that the Ravens were looking for. There are some tidbits of information that I need to portray, because it's not all, sunshine and rainbows. Lamar was limited. He has not looked 100% from the videos I saw. It didn't look like he was, doing all that, doing the limited amount of practice that the media gets to show. So something to look out for. Also, this Ben Johnson offense is very similar to the Lions offense that the Ravens faced in week 3. The Ravens had trouble against that zone running scheme. Of course, the Bears don't really have the, Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery connection that they have over there, even though DeAndre Swift is a great running back. So that is my concern, the Ravens being able to stop that attack. I think the Ravens are better equipped to handle the problems with their run defense now. I do think that the Ravens are in severe need of a pass rusher. They don't have anybody besides Calvin Noy and Mike Green, the rookie, who hasn't really shown too much. You have David Ojabo as the third pass rusher, and then not much else. The other 2 guys are in the practice squad, and we thought coming into this game that there was going to be a trade being made, but I think that tells you where the front office is with this one. If the Ravens lose this game against the Bears or the game against the Dolphins on Thursday night, they're going to be sellers. They're not going to be buyers in this market. They're going to be selling assets. So the Ravens are going to look upon themselves to pick up these 2 victories so that they can become buyers prior to the trade deadline, which will be a few days removed from the Dolphins game. So that's where the mindset is for the Ravens right now. That's why they didn't make any trades, in my opinion. As far as this contest goes, if the Ravens don't at least bring in one new guard to this offensive line. It won't matter if Lamar Jackson is back. They're going to struggle against that defensive front in Chicago, which isn't, up to snuff with the Browns or even the Lions, but still can pose problems because the Ravens offensive line is quite trash. So I'm thinking about Emory Jones. I'm thinking about Corey Bullock, maybe even Ben Cleveland coming in to spell for Daniel Falele or Angie Voorhees. If it's the same 5 guys that have been out there all season, it won't matter that Lamar Jackson's back. They're going to lose this game. But I think a change is going to be made, and I think the Ravens do pick up the W here and pick it up in a big way. I think the Ravens win by 14 points. Give me the Ravens 38-24.
He's back.
All right, Lamar's back,
and
so is the Ravens.
Hey,
according
but
to
Zim,
Mark.
you saw what he did there, though, right? I was waiting for you to interrupt, and you saw what he did there.
What'd I do?
He was playing the what if card.
I'm just saying.
He was already setting up with the injury. I just wanted to make sure you caught that.
He knows. Oh,
you said something where you were preparing yourself just in case you lost. Was it the
offensive line?
The offensive line.
If it's the same offensive line, I don't think we're gonna win.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Too much.
I'm not. I feel like the Ravens, whoever's on the PR for the media in the universe, they got the ultimate PR. Like, because I've never heard a team get, like ESPN, like they're naming guys that be back and everything. Like, oh, they had so many injuries, and then their fans just echo and then they're the kings of. Then they're the kings of we beat ourselves, which is the one thing that makes me hate anything more than anything in football is we beat ourselves. I hate that. They're the kings of it, and I got a feeling that that's coming up too. But I'm gonna tell you, he's not used to being down. He's going to get frustrated, like Zay said. If they are not blocking for him, he's going to start thinking about that hamstring. He's going to start thinking about that $75 million cap hit that I've been telling y'all about on this show for 2 years. All those things are going to come into it because he's his own agent. You know what I mean? So like all these different things are going to start to play in his head. If they get down on that scoreboard, he's going to be like, yeah, I got to preserve his hand. I'm telling you, he's not used to this. Their fans not used to this.
2 more things, and I'm glad you brought it up. 2 things. One, Pat Ricard's coming back. He's the fullback. He's huge for the running game. So I expect a big day out of Derrick Henry. Pat Ricard coming back is huge. I can't even overstate how big of a deal it is that Pat Ricard's coming back. And number 2 is that, I just lost my train of thought with it, but it is dealing with Lamar Jackson. Yes, Lamar Jackson under pressure in the postseason. You see him, kind of, shrink to the performance. This is a playoff game for the Ravens, as we all talked about. So I'm kind of concerned. Yep. I want to see what Lamar Jackson does with this type of pressure. Zay, you talked about the pressure that's going to be on the shoulders of Lamar Jackson if he does play. Let's see how he performs under pressure, because this is going to be as big of a pressure that we've seen from Lamar since the Buffalo Bills game in January.
Yep. There's one thing that will save the Ravens, and it's the ultimate superpower, and I just don't understand why he wants to get away from it, or the offense wants to get away from it. The Ravens are as dangerous as they are when Lamar Jackson is a run first guy. He needs to go back to wanting to attack, to running the ball.
That hammy,
the hamstring,
right
though. Yeah,
but I get it. But I'm just saying, you'll score a lot more points. The run game will be a lot more easier for Derrick Henry if Lamar Jackson just makes the defense get on their toes early, and instead of trying to throw the ball, just go run it, and then those things will open up, and later on throw the ball. But I don't know why is there a reason why he doesn't run as much? I know the numbers say that he still runs a lot, but it's not like what we used to see early off in Lamar Jackson's career.
I think he got hurt in that Bills game. That's one for this year anyway. That's the reason why that hamstring injury happened in that Bills game, and he's just hasn't been the same since. Also, I think Todd Monken wants to prove he's a passer. I think they just want him to throw the football more than anything else, and that's the reason why it hasn't been like that. But I agree, he needs to run the ball more. Don't think it's going to happen in this game.
A passer takes
Michael Vick, don't run.
A passer takes Derrick Henry off the field.
Yeah.
True.
I was waiting for the rebuttal, man. Sometimes I get so asphyxiated within the debates on this show that I sometimes just sit back, and I'm a fan myself.
Z-Bot, you don't get too many real good arguments and ball talk over there in the AFC East these days. It ain't really too much to talk about.
Well, no, the Patriots fans are back.
they're
back. The Pats fans, Yeah, the long pain and suffering of the last 5 years. Oh, it's been so torturous for Pats fans. Oh my God!
As they're shining off their rings and just
well, and then in the interim period, the Celtics win a championship. The Bruins have one of the greatest records in regular season history. But yeah, we all feel so bad for Boston fans.
And it crazy too. I know you hate this, but Drake May does look really damn good.
Oh, he looks phenomenal. He looks great.
He looks really damn good.
And as I've been noting, the worst part of it all is that we'll all go back to the coming out party, which was the Sunday night football game against the Bills, where it all started. That's the beauty of it all.
Don't worry. We're going to see what Jim Schwartz can do for y'all. I got you, man.
Is that all right? Listen, big time. Hey, and speaking of the AFC East, not the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals got back on track last week. They look to continue down that track, and they are set up to do so against an AFC East opponent, the worst team in the NFL, that is the New York Jets, who currently Woody Johnson, owner of the Jets, is blaming their demise on quarterback Justin Fields. Meanwhile, in Cincinnati, their quarterback situation may be solved temporarily here based on what we saw from Joe Flacco last week. All of a sudden, Zay, right, these Bengals, they go into the Pittsburgh game 2-4. They win that game. Now they're set up. They're a touchdown favorite, by the way, in this game. Speaking of touchdown favorites. So they're set up to get back to 500. Who knows what happens from here? Zay, I'll start with you. Jets, Bengals, who takes it?
I mentioned it last week on the show that you needed to somehow squeak away that Steelers game. And if you could get this Jets game, Joe Flacco is going to destroy this Jets team. I don't know what it is with him versus the Jets, but he seems to get up for these games. I expect the same thing, but I think they need to get. You said the window's looking like December for Burrow, right?
Yeah, that it's late December, I believe.
Correct.
December.
Ian Rappaport came out yesterday and said early December now.
Oh, wow. Right in time for the Bills game, right, Zim? That sounds about right. That sounds right on par for the course.
After Thanksgiving.
I mean, if he can sneak a win here, you can afford to maybe drop one to the Bears, and then you're right back to where Zim wants to be versus the Steelers. All Joe Flacco's got to do is keep treading this water and just sneak away a game. You don't have to win 2 in a row, but you need this one versus the Jets. You can drop the one versus the Bears, but that circle, the game we need to really be focusing on is that November 16th game, because that may be the deciding factor on if the Bengals are ultimately going to sink or they're going to float, because then you got the Patriots, the Ravens, and the Bills, and that stretch gets brutal. And at that point, if Joe Burrow comes back, your chances of the playoffs, are slim to none at that point. So I don't want to say I'm excited, because I can't deal with another "Thank You Cleveland" chant all over ESPN for 2 days straight. But thank God this isn't a Thursday night game. But give me Joe Flacco and the Bengals by probably double digits.
Thank you, Cleveland.
Yeah, Zay, they appreciate you out in Cincinnati, and they
thank you, Zay. Thank you, Zay.
You're welcome. We felt bad, we remember all of the TVs being sold. We had to look out for y'all.
Thank you, Zay.
The Bengals fans are appreciative of you, Zay, and I'm sure they're appreciative of the fact that they are now playing the New York Jets as they continue to try to get back towards 500. Sam, do they get back to 500 on Sunday?
I am nervous for this game if you're a Bengals fan. The Jets are a top 10 pass defense. Yeah, and I just don't trust I don't trust that Bengals defense enough where, Justin Fields is going to be a total non-factor on the ground. So again, I think that the Jets are going to double team Jamar Chase. If you're a fantasy guy or a betting guy, this might be a big game for T. Higgins to go off, because they're really going to try and prevent what they did against the Steelers. Could be a tighter game than you think. I would say the Bengals probably have a good chance of winning this game, because it's in Cincinnati, correct? It's in Cincinnati. Yeah. So
0-7 Jets, pretty good chance.
I know. I'm just saying they have a good. But if this was a game where I could say maybe not, this would be the one. Don't overlook the Jets looking ahead to your next opponent, because I think that this Jets team is desperate for a 1-0-7. Aaron Glenn, even though he got a vote of confidence from Woody, he wants a win under his belt really badly. Don't overlook this Jets team. I'm picking the Bengals to win, but I would not be shocked if this is the upset of the week.
They're desperate, but listen, the problem is even with that desperation, this offense can't move the football. They can't put points on the board. We know a team that can. That's Cincinnati, especially now with Joe Flacco. So, Zim, what's it look like on Sunday against the Jets? Do your Bengals get to 4-4 and start to make things interesting here?
I think so. I think, like I opened up the show, I think the one thing that people do not do, and I think our fan base does, we don't talk about injuries a lot. Trey Hendrickson didn't play. I think that game looks so much different if Trey Hendrickson plays. I don't know how Trey Hendrickson stacks up in terms of Myles Garrett or whoever you want, but I think Trey Hendrickson is the best closer in football. Even if this game is closer than what people think, when you are in a position where you are forced to pass, I like his chances. Also, Tyrod Taylor was supposed to play, I think, as a starter. He also is questionable with a knee injury. And I believe Sauce Gardner is still in concussion protocol. And they're saying that he has been ruled out, is what I read on 2 different reports. It could be incorrect. Someone could fact check me. But I'm not sure if they are equipped to do what they need to do with Chase Brown now playing. And also, our offensive line got healthy too. Our starting left guard is now back. The Bengals were the seventh ranked highest offensive line last week. The week before that, they were 8th. The week before that, they were 12th. They now got their left guard back and their right guard back. And I feel like the depth on the offensive line is the best I've ever seen. I have a question for everybody. Of course, the Bengals, I think the Bengals are going to win this game. I have a question for everybody because Zay was talking about Joe Burrow later in the season and everything like this. I pose this to anybody. If Joe Flacco wins, let's say, 5-6 games or goes like on a crazy streak, wins like 4 games straight or something like that, and Joe Burrow tells you that he's healthy and he's ready to come back, do you put Joe Burrow back in?
Hell yeah. What?
Hell yes. Hell
Not
yes.
even thinking. What are you talking about?
I wouldn't.
You're crazy.
You're crazy.
Wow.
I cannot believe you said
I
that.
wouldn't.
You're
I
crazy.
wouldn't.
How come?
I watch a lot of people. You're watching Purdy right now with the toe, like battling that. I've watched a couple people and players that I've talked to that said that turf toe has really messed up their career. So like forcing them to come back and this guy is hot, and let's say he's throwing for 300 something yards a game, like in the hypothetical, I'm telling you, that would have been Joe Flacco taking over a team at 2-4 and then getting them to like 10-7 or something like, and then you're just like, yeah, like, all right, we don't need you no more. Joe Burrow off the bench, messed up toe.
I'm taking that any day. Here's where I get where you coming from, Zim, and I'm actually stunned.
Think about how they would cook.
speechless.
Think about the pressure they would put on him if he didn't perform too in those that game or two. Like the media would be nasty.
But here's where I'm stunned with you. Number one, we talking about Joe Burrow. We're not talking about Brock Purdy. We talking about Joe Burrow. Number two, you're one of the same people that clowned us when we said, well, how did that work out for you when Joe Burrow threw pick sixes in the playoff time? We talking about one of the best quarterbacks in the league, a guy who's leading a hot streak. I'll take a 75% best quarterback in the league all day over the week when you already know what time it is. That's why I can't believe you said that, because when Joe Burrow stepped in, you know what time it was. Remember we was all clowning him with the wrist injury. Was that going to be a problem? 400 yards first week out. So that's why I'm low-key stunned that you would even go that route, because we know what Joe Burrow capable of. But all I'm saying is you would hate yourself if you got into the playoffs because Joe Flacco made it there and you saw exactly what you saw in 2023.
I need to see Burrow before a playoff game before I just be like, all right, here you go. I need to see him before that. Like I need him to plant on the foot. I know it's his left foot. I need to see him plant consistently for 8 quarters before I even think about like that. The timetable is December, where I'm talking about Flacco done got you on play. Because remember, if they don't win enough games, the Burrow conversation, I ain't bringing them back. I ain't bringing them back anyway.
Ask yourself this question though: is Joe Burrow going to want to sit out? Like that's the real. I think I get what you're coming with what the hypothetical is. But if Joe Flacco come up to him and say, "I'm good to go, let's run it," you think they're gonna tell Joe Flacco, "Hey, look, I'm sorry, bro. We gonna ride with Joe." Like Joe Flacco, Joe Burrow gonna have, you know what I'm saying? He gonna have the command the second he says he's good to go.
No, that's real. I definitely could see that. He also needs to be smart about his career too. I don't know. I just think if the scenario I'm posing is like Flacco's on fire, I don't see, like you were like, yeah, it's a gauntlet they're going through. I don't see him letting up. I'm more worried about the defense. But I don't see Flacco letting up. I really don't. Because I think he's smart enough to just do what everybody been saying. Just throw it to the weapons.
Here's the only problem with Flacco, though, and it always happens because you got to remember, we witnessed the stretch already. I've witnessed it firsthand what it's like to experience Flacco fever and what that looks like. He gonna sling it, but you ain't seen him where he's gonna put that ball in harm's way yet for yourself. So once that starts to happen, you'll probably come back down to realization with what you want, but it hasn't happened yet. This is part of what you're beginning to see how the magic is about to undevelop. You got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. If he keep throwing that, chances are it's good. But there's gonna come a point in time where, like I mentioned it last show, if you can, what I tell you, the second you get Joe, you got to give him time in that first quarter. You can't let him hit the ground because he'll get flustered and he'll start making bad decisions. That's the key to Joe Flacco, is keeping him upright in that first half. If y'all can do that, I see where you can go with that, but I think eventually he gonna put it in the harm's way.
I think this is the thing too. I wanted to ask Sam this. There's another question. Sorry, Z, but I just gotta ask him because only he would know. What was the temperature? And I don't remember, and I'm not being funny about this. It was so long ago for me. I don't remember much about it except the lights went off, right? What was the temperature? I remember all the miracle plays and all this other stuff like that. But what was the temperature on Flacco going into the playoffs? Not like in the Super Bowl, but like going into the playoffs before he won the Super Bowl. Because I'm going to tell you what I see right now.
Yeah.
He has a real weird way about blocking off all that other stuff that we as football fans like that we watch. He does not seem to care about none of that stuff.
You hit the nail right on the head. Yeah, he don't care about nothing. Again, when we got to like the middle of the season, we had problems with the offensive coordinator. Our left tackle wasn't blocking. We had to bring in Bryant McKinney to start our left tackle, and we got rid of our offensive coordinator and got Jim Caldwell in that year. After that, he was unstoppable. We kept him upright. He saw the field perfectly. He did exactly what he did with Jamar Chase, threw it up to Anquan Bolden whenever he got a chance to. You know, T. Higgins was going up the seam. That's what Torrey Smith was doing, and that was all she wrote. It was just 4, 5, 6 games of that. We just knew every single game we were going to win. And our defense, similar to yours, was not great. Ray Lewis was there. He was awful. He was he was Roquan Smith.
He was on that antler deer.
He was on that antler deer. Yeah, he was terrible in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I remember
Ed Reed was okay back there with Bernard Pollard, but really our defense was 26th in the league. It was all Joe Flacco. It was all him.
Bring
down to the championship.
He was 15-0 that.
Yeah. He did not throw an interception.
See, but here's the.
I don't doubt Burrow. It's just, I just think if this dude is hot,
it's funny that we sit here having this conversation because
it's a good question.
No, because you sound like me. Like I've been here, like
low key.
You know what I'm saying? Like y'all was clowning me for hyping up Joe Flacco and
it's different, bro.
And that's what I try to tell y'all.
It's different. It's not even that I believe in Flacco like that. I just believe. I believe in the weapons and the offensive line looking better, right? I don't know how good they're going to end, but the weapons, I just don't see. That's the one thing that just gives me like I feel like when I watch all those games this Sunday, because my game was on Thursday, if you got weapons, bro, you ready to go. Like if you got weapons, you ready to go. If you ain't got weapons, it's a struggle. You better get some points on defense. You better have a crazy run game. You better have an elite offensive guru or something. I don't got none of that. I just got weapons. Like, and I watch teams with the Cowboys. Like, they don't have no crazy scheme. Like, it was just slinging that joint, and like, bro, they look scary. Like, if they had Micah Parsons on the Cowboys, I'd be like, bro, I don't know. I think they might can go to NFC Championship. They look scary, bro.
Yeah,
Javonte Williams will come playoffs.
Yeah, their offense is unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It doesn't feel like the only team that somewhat feels completely complete right now in a weird way is the Seattle Seahawks to me, where they have a great unit on both sides of the ball.
You don't think the Chiefs?
I don't think the Chiefs' defense has been as great as it once was, but no, the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL right now. I think when I'm looking at the team that I feel feels most complete, it does to me feel like the Seahawks. JSN's playing at a top 5 level at the wide receiver position. They have 2 really good running backs. Darnold's balling, and that defense is scary.
Yeah.
I mean, what they did to Houston the other night, and I know their offensive line is trash, but that defense or that team collectively, but you can't quantify the Chiefs. They're just on a whole other level. I think the gap right now between the Chiefs and everybody else is noticeable. But it just feels like right now, so many teams are struggling with what you're struggling with, Zim, where the defense is just not up to snuff and they just can't match what the other end is doing. So it seems to be like an epidemic right now in the league. I feel like every time I turn on a game, I'm watching horrid defense, and it's not frequent that you see really awful offense. The Jets to me right now seem like the only team, them and the Titans, but that's understandable. You got a rookie quarterback out there with nothing around him. Just feels like there's far more competent offense right now than there is defense. All right, we have 2 more games to get to in week 8. Before we touch on those, let's head on over to Sleeper. I've already built a slip for us. I got a free pick in there. Jordan Love, more than a half pass yard. So get that one out of the way. Nice free pick to throw into our slip. And then Thursday night football tomorrow evening, we have Minnesota taking on the Chargers. I have more receiving yards for Lad McConkey, and I also have more on Justin Jefferson's receiving yards at 82.5. That slip is good for a 5x multiplier if you want to tally that one, or of course create your own. Link in the description below. Click that and sign up for Sleeper. Once you do, you'll get a 100% match up to $100 when you use the promo code RTS. And before you even make a deposit, right now you can try out Sleeper completely free. As soon as you create an account, you will instantly get a free $20 wager to use on the platform. So make sure to check them out today. Link in the description below. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently available in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. All right, let's move on and navigate through week 8 as we stay in the Sunday 1 p.m. Eastern window, where the Cleveland Browns are looking to build off of that W they just took out on the Miami Dolphins. They'll stay in the AFC East, and they'll be taking on the New England Patriots, who have come out of nowhere. We knew they were going to take a step forward this year, but it seems like it's even earlier than expected, where they are really rising to the occasion here and are cementing themselves within the fold of the AFC. The Browns are looking to derail that on the road against these Patriots. Zim, I'll start with you. Can this defense throw Drake May and company off enough to be able to get the W on the road Sunday?
No, I think the Patriots have a lot of different weapons that people are not paying attention to. It's like a mix of like 3 like Wes Welkers just running around there. You still got like the Hunter Henry, like you still got like some of the tight ends that you know, and like it's just a lot of wide receivers running around. Like, I don't know, bro. Like Diggs is looking crazy again. Like, I don't know. He does a lot of little stuff when he manipulates the pocket and gets his shoulders like squared up so fast. If the Pats had like one wide receiver, I say, yeah, this is gonna be a tight game. They got a lot of weapons, bro. They're not household names, but their wide receiver core is like so many different possession guys that just keep the chains moving, and then boom, they hit like a big play. It's not like the sexy play every single week to talk about their wide receiver core and their weapons, but watching them, it's just so many. Like your CB3, CB4 gotta be like, he gotta be on point, or that guy. What's his name could give you work too. Like it's a bunch of guys there. I like the Pats in this game by 10.
Pats by double digits, says Zim. What say you, Sam? Who you got in this one? Browns, Patriots.
This is another sneaky one. I don't know. I'm telling y'all that this Browns defense is going to give Drake Mason problems. I think that the last time that the Patriots played a defense with this type of pass rush was the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know the Steelers don't really show much as far as defense, but they were getting after Drake May in that contest on Sunday. I think it was the 3rd week of the season, and they ended up losing that game. So I think that, again, the Browns offense is terrible. We know that. Can the defense do enough to get by winning by a score of 13-10? That type of thing. I think that's the score that the Browns beat the Packers with. Something like that would give the Browns a chance in this game. I'm going to go with the Patriots because they are the better football team, but this is one of those other sneaky games that I wouldn't touch because, again, if you're a quarterback and you don't really know how to handle pressure, not a lot of Joe Burrows out there in the world to handle it. I think that this Browns team could give them fits, but ultimately, I think, as Zim mentioned, the Patriots do have a lot of weapons that they could take advantage of, and I do not trust that Browns offense at all. So give me the Patriots, but that Browns defense, don't watch out for them.
Sam, you're on point with that. I wouldn't touch, from a betting perspective, I wouldn't touch this game.
Zay, You got to touch this game for me. You got to touch on your Browns. You got to talk to me about what's happening here. Can they keep the momentum rolling off of what they just did against Miami?
They're not gonna have a choice but to. That, like, the only thing about this game is knowing that Mike Vrabel's the head coach, knowing that, the quote where he was asked if he would have taken the job if he or would he consider being the head coach there, and he said yeah, if they would have offered it and all of that stuff. We know the obvious stuff or the strengths of the Browns is going to be tested. Dylan Gabriel is going to have to be a main caveat of why you win this game. He's going to test Dylan Gabriel to make him beat you. He's not going to let 10 get off that way. We're talking about a defensive minded head coach, someone who prides herself on defense. He's going to get deep into that bag of tricks to make life very hard for our run game. And if you're not going to get the contribution from the special teams like you did, where you can generate fumbles, if you're not going to capitalize on interceptions and create points on the defensive side of the ball, and Dylan Gabriel isn't giving you anything, this could be another one of those Bailey Zappi, Drake May games. Like last time we played the Patriots, Bailey Zappi carved us up in like a 30-point win versus Jacoby Brissett. It was brutal. We had no answer for anything. So unfortunately, I keep talking about these schedules for everyone else. The Browns have a very good shot to become alive too and rise from the dead like they're Undertaker being buried alive, because they got the Patriots, they got the Jets. Ravens are struggling. I know they're the Ravens, but they're struggling. They got the Raiders, and then you got the 49ers and the Bears. So, like, you got a stretch here to where I'm not going to sit here and say anything crazy like they're going to go try to win the division or make a playoff run, but you can make things interesting. You can have interesting conversations. You can see what these rookies can truly, truly do. And if Dylan Gabriel can come out here and just find a way to get some explosive plays downfield, I think the Browns can squeak away with this. Now, do I pick them to win? Because I still want Kevin Stefanski fired. But if I'm going to play my conspiracy theory, the Browns have to win this week. I think we're going to, by the grace of our defense, we're going to create a turnover and get points on the defense again. I'm going to take us barely, and I really don't want to do it. But if Kevin Stefanski wants to keep his job, you have to win this game. So I'm going to take the Browns. I don't know. Browns 21, Patriots 17.
Well, for what it's worth, Zay, I'll be your number one fan this upcoming week. I need those Patriots to start losing. I need my Bills to start winning, so I will be rooting for you this upcoming Sunday. All right, let's move to the nightcap. Sunday Night Football. What a matchup we have here as Aaron Rodgers hosts his former team in prime time. It's the Green Bay Packers at 4-1-1, taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4-2, coming off of a primetime loss last week to Zim's Bengals. The Packers 4-1-1 atop of the NFC right now, but they have not looked as good as they did early in the year when they dominated the Detroit Lions. Every game has been difficult for them. They have been winning, but they haven't looked as good as maybe you would have thought they would after making that move, acquiring Micah Parsons. So, Zay, I'll kick it right back to you here. Packers, Steelers, Sunday Night Football. Mind you, by the way, Steelers are a home dog where Mike Tomlin thrives.
Yes, sir.
So what do you make of this one?
Oh, my gosh. That's an automatic win for the damn Steelers then,
Yep.
right? Like, that is – that's so annoying that they're home underdogs. And what makes it even more annoying, there's certain – like Joe Flacco's, there's only a certain type of breed like that left. Aaron Rodgers comes from that type of era. The thing replaying in my head is we still own you. I know that's the Bears, but you think Aaron Rodgers is not going to get up for this game? It pisses me off even more knowing that they're underdogs, because I don't think the Steelers lose this game. I think we see it. If we ever see one more vintage Aaron Rodgers game, it's gotta be this one, right? If this is his last go around, I know they're saying that they want to bring him back next year, but like, how many more times are you going to have left to kick the Green Bay Packers ass at home and you're being an underdog at it? Like, there's too many things swaying in this to go against the Steelers. I hate that I have to pick these bums, but I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have one of those crazy he may not have a lot of yards, but we may look up and see one of those 4 or 5 touchdown games, like those signature Aaron Rodgers, just stupid games. So give me the Steelers by whatever. I don't know. They win somehow.
Tom went off a loss, a home dog, +3.5 here. Steelers, Packers. Sam, what do you make of it?
This has all the makings of a Pittsburgh Steelers victory. Unfortunately, it just has all the fixings. First of all, the man of the night will be Micah Parsons. If Micah Parsons can get after Aaron Rodgers on a consistent basis, not just on third down, not just whenever there's a big time to make a play, over and over again, to the point where the Steelers have to shift what they're doing to accommodate the sheer terror that Micah Parsons presents, then this will be heavily towards the Green Bay Packers' favor. But if not, this is a matchup that can go either way. I mean, both these defenses, to me, don't look that fantastic. Jordan Love doesn't look that great as a QB compared to what I've seen in previous seasons. Aaron Rodgers back in, well, it's in Pittsburgh, but hosting the Green Bay Packers. This just feels like a moment where Mike Tomlin, the head coach that he is, my favorite head coach, is going to get this team together to win this one for Aaron Rodgers. Just, I mean, if I were to bet on this game, I'm for sure picking the underdog, the Pittsburgh Steelers, to win, and they do it time and time again. I'm rooting for the Green Bay Packers big time, but this just feels like a Pittsburgh Steelers victory waiting to happen.
2 for 2. Mark would be happy when he watches on the rewatch. He's going to have a smile on his face unless Zim has something to say about it.
Man, I hate y'all just put that in my that bug in my ear.
Yeah.
Because on paper, I'm just looking at like the one thing that I noticed from the Steelers is that they have to keep an extra offensive lineman in. And they keep them in line to the formation. So they keep 6 on the line at all times. Like that's how they hide the deficiencies of Broderick, and that's how they highlight the deficiencies of their game, even though their interior is strong. I think their interior O-line is good. I think that they had to do more than that for like Micah and Rashawn Gary, and you got Van Ness. And the one thing I was watching that game, I was like, bro, if a team puts some pressure on Rodgers, he gonna crumble, because the little bit of pressure that he did give him, he panicked through 2 picks, like down the field, like terrible throws. If you don't do that, he'll just take whatever you give him underneath. And I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be nasty. The other part of it is I wasn't impressed. That was Joe Flacco's first game that we played again. Yeah, I wasn't that impressed with Jordan Love, but late in the game, he makes some runs and stuff. This game is going to be a nasty one, bro. This is a hard game. I think Kraft going to get off. I think that like Dobbs, Golden is scary. Golden's quietly getting better. Jacobs is getting better. But the one thing the Packers been giving up to is a lot of runs. So Jalen Warren going to get out. This is a crazy game. I got this going to overtime.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I think I got Boswell, bro.
Oh, fuck.
Wow.
Losing! Missing the kick! I got Boswell missing! I got it! Let's go, Packers!
Yes. Let's go, Packers. Go, Pack, go.
Go, Pack,
He
go.
had us in the first half. I can't lie. And I don't want to speak for Mark, but I think it's safe to say he thinks they're going to take it. Zim, the odd man out. He's the only one not picking the upset. He's got the Pack coming in and beating their former Super Bowl winning quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. Can't wait to watch that game. Can't wait to recap that game with you next week. Same time, same place you're at right now, right here on the AFC North Roundtable. But in the meantime, that's going to do it for us this evening. For Zay, Sam, Zim, and Mark, who will be back with us next week to recap that showdown, I'm your host, Z-Bot. Thanks so much, as always, for tuning into the AFC North Roundtable, and we'll see you on the next one.
Roundtable Sports Network is your one-stop shop for all things NFL, with daily live shows covering all 8 divisions in the league, hosted by the best content creators on the web, all on one network. Catch the AFC East live every Monday at 7 p.m. and on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. The AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. The AFC North Roundtable live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. The AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. The NFC East Roundtable live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. The NFC West Roundtable live at 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. The NFC North Roundtable is at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, and the NFC South Roundtable is live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EST. And of course, Fourth and Forever, the flagship show of Roundtable Sports Network, covering all things NFL at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Roundtable Sports YouTube channel. Real coverage, real fans.